I walked in on my boyfriend. His face was unplugged. It was just outlets. Instead of high cheekbones, brown eyes, and a cute puckered mouth, there was a completely flat metallic surface full of holes. My boyfriend's face looked like a wall fixture or maybe the back of a TV. I screamed and staggered against the bathroom's towel rack. "Oh, bait, God!" My boyfriend's voice came through a tiny speaker on his outlet face. He grabbed a fleshy oval he was drying in the sink and pressed it against his head. I could hear a snap and click as he thumbed his cheeks. Within seconds, his face was attached like normal, or at least as normal as it could appear after such a horrific reveal. "So sorry you had to see me like that." I turned and fled. Out of instinct more than anything, I ran to our kitchen and grabbed a knife. The cold handle stayed glued to my palm. Bait, calm down, please." My boyfriend emerged with outstretched, cautious hands. No need to overreact. He stayed away from the glint of my knife. "Where's Tim?" I said, looking right into my boyfriend's eyes. "What did you do with Tim?" "Bait, relax. I am Tim. I've always had this." He gestured behind his jawbones. I could see little divots where his face had just connected, little divots I had always thought were just some old acne scars. "I'm really sorry. I should have told you sooner. I should have told you as soon as I found out." What the fuck was he talking about? Found out what? That I'm not, technically, that I'm not fully organic. The words froze me in place. Out of all the possible phrases he could have uttered, I really did not like the sound of "not fully organic." He nodded wordlessly several times. "I know it's awkward. I should have told you sooner. But as you might guess, it's not exactly the easiest thing to share." I stared for a long moment at this hunched-over, wincing, apologetic person who claimed to be my boyfriend. I pointed at him with the knife. "Explain." "I will, but first, why don't we put the blade away? Let's calm ourselves. Let's sit down." "You sit down." Although visibly a little frightened of my knife, he looked and behaved as Tim always did. His eyes still had the same shine, his lips still curled and puckered in that typical Tim way. If I hadn't seen him faceless a moment ago, I wouldn't have doubted his earnestness for a second. But I had seen him faceless. And now a primal, guttural impulse told me I couldn't trust him. He has a plug face. He has a plug face. "I'll go sit down." Tim raised his arms cooperatively. He grabbed one of our fold-out chairs and seated himself on the far end of our living room. "Here, I'll sit here and give you lots of space." I unlocked the door to our apartment and stood by the front entrance. My hand still clutched the small paring knife in his direction. "It's a very warranted reaction," Tim said. "I get it. Truly I do. But it doesn't have to be this uncomfortable, Bait. I'm not a monster. I promise I'm still the same me. I'm not going to hurt you." I aimed the stainless steel at him without quivering. "Just explain." He gave a big long inhale, followed by an even longer sigh, as if doing so could somehow deflate the intensity of the situation. "Okay, I'll try my best to explain. It's a whole lot I've uncovered over the last while, and I don't really know where to begin, but I'll start with the basics. First of all, we aren't real." I scoffed. I couldn't help myself. Well, I don't fully know about you yet. I suspect you're artificial as well, but definitely me. I have fully confirmed that I'm a fake." Goosebumps ran down my neck. With my free hand, I touched the area behind my jawline. I couldn't feel any indents. I've never had any indents there. "A fake?" I asked. "A fake? A null? I'm not a real living person. I've been programmed with just enough memories to make it feel like I'm a carpenter in my early 30s, but really, I'm just background filler. Some sort of synthetic bioroid." Every word he said coiled a wire in my stomach. "There's a couple others I discovered online." Tim pulled out his phone. "Fakes, I mean. Their situations are similar to ours. It's always a young couple sharing a brand new apartment, one they can't possibly afford." He let the word hang. "What do you mean?" I said. "We can afford our apartment." "Bait. I've never worked a day in my life. What are you talking about?" Tim steepled his hands and brought them over his face. "I've set GoPros in my clothing. I've recorded where I've gone. After I put on my overalls and wave you goodbye, I take the elevator to our garage. But instead of going to Pone where our car is parked, I actually go down to Fur and lock myself up inside a locker." "What?" "Something overrides my consciousness, and I sleep standing for hours. I'm talking like a full 8-hour workday, plus some buffer for any fictional traffic. Then my memory is wiped." "What?" My memory is wiped and replaced with a false memory of having worked in some construction yard with my crew. And then that's what I relay to you when I return home. That's all I remember. It's as simple as that. The goosebumps on my neck wouldn't relent. That can't be real. Can't be real? He stood up from his chair and pointed at the sides of his head. My whole face comes off bait. I squeezed my eyes closed and bit my tongue. I bit harder and harder, praying it could wake me up out of this impossibility. But there was nothing to wake up from. "Do you want me to show you again?" Tim asked. "No," I said. "Please don't, I don't want to see it." "Of course you don't. It's disturbing, I know. I'm a clockwork non-human who's been given the illusion of life. It's fucked." When I opened my eyes again, Tim was sitting again with his head in his palms, clutching at tufts of his hair. "And do you know why they built us? Do you know why we exist?" His voice turned shrill. I swallowed a warm wad of copper and realized my teeth had punctured my tongue. I unclenched my jaw. "It's for decor. We exist to drive up the value of the condominiums in the building. We exist to make something look popular, normal, and safe. We're background Bayreuth actors in a living advertisement." I finally loosened my grip and set the knife by the front entrance. I grabbed my jacket. "I don't know what you are, but I'm not decor, I'm normal," I said. "My face doesn't come off." Tim lifted his head from his hands and looked at me cynically. "Bait. Have you ever filmed yourself leaving the house?" "I leave the house all the time." "I know it feels that way, but have you ever actually filmed yourself?" "We both went on a walk this morning." Tim nodded. "And that is the only time. The only time we actually leave is when we walk through the neighborhood, and do you know why?" I gave a small shake of the head. "I put on my scarf. To endorse the ambience of this gentrified hellhole. We're animated mannequins looping on false memories and false lives. We're part of a glorified screensaver." "That's not true." I opened the door and got ready to leave. "I walk for my knee. I take walks close by because my physiotherapist said it was good for my knee. I don't walk because I'm decor." "You can justify it however you want, Bait." Tim crossed over from his chair. "But chances are that every physio appointment, every evening out with friends, every memory of the mall is just an implant in your head." "You're wrong, and my face does not come off." Tim stood with arms at his sides. He smiled a little. It's like he was glad that I was so stubborn. "Are you sure about that?" "Yes." I prodded behind my cheeks, looking for any ridges. "You can reach behind your jaw all you want," Tim said, "but that doesn't mean anything. You could be a totally different model than me." "Different model?" "Let me check behind your head." "What?" "Some fakes have better seams, but there's always a particular indent at the back of the head." He came over in slow, steady advances. "Stop," I grabbed the knife again. "You're not coming any closer." He paused, held up his hands. "I could show you with a mirror or take a picture with my phone to be sure." "I don't trust you, Tim, or whatever you are." His face saddened. "I swear, Bait, as weird as it sounds, I'm telling the truth. I wish it were different. You have to believe me." I didn't believe him. Or maybe I didn't want to believe him, or maybe, after seeing a person detach their own face, I just couldn't have faith in anything they ever said ever again. "I'm going to leave, Tim. I'm staying somewhere else tonight." He shook his head. "A hotel won't do anything. They want you to stay at a hotel. You'll make their hotel look good." "I'm not telling you where I'm staying." He laughed in an exasperated, incredulous laugh. "Seriously, Bait, have you ever really looked at yourself in the mirror? We are the perfect, most banal-looking couple ever to grace this yuppified enclave. We're goddamn robots owned by a straight-A corporation to maintain the vibe. Think about it. What do you do at home all day?" I didn't want to think about it. I walked out the door holding the knife, watching Tim the whole time, daring him to follow me. He didn't. I left down the emergency staircase. It was an ugly breakup. I didn't want to see him when I gathered my things, so I only collected my stuff during his work hours. He kept texting me more pictures of the seams along his face. He kept explaining how all of our friends were perpetually on vacation, which is why our whole social life exists only via screens. Because it's all an elaborate orchestration to make us think we're real people when we're really just robots designed to walk around and look nice. I called him crazy. I convinced myself that the plug face encounter in the bathroom was a hallucination. His conspiratorial texts and calls had gotten to me and made me misremember things. That's all it was. The whole plug face episode was a fabrication. He was just going crazy and trying to drag me down with him, but I was not going along for the ride. After many heated exchanges, I eventually told him as politely as I could to fuck off. I blocked him across all of my messaging apps. 5 months later, he got a new phone number. He sent one last flurry of texts. Apparently, the Strata Corporation was going to decommission his existence. They were finally going to sell our old flat to an actual human couple. My simulation has served its purpose. Soon, I'm going to be stored away in that fur locker indefinitely. I messaged back saying, "Dude, knock this shit off and move on with your life. You're not a robot. Let go of this delusion. Seek help." I texted him a list of mental health resources available online and blocked him yet again. Just because he was having trouble controlling his mania didn't mean he had the right to spill it onto me. These days, I'm feeling much happier. I found a new man and reset myself in a completely different part of the city. We live in one of those brand new towers downtown. Our flat is super spacious, with quick routes to all nearby amenities. It's something I could have never been able to afford with Tim. Tyler is a plumber with his own business, who has his priorities straight. He's letting me take all the time I need to adjust to the neighborhood. I'm spending most of my days sending resumes at home and chatting with Kiera and Stacy, who are currently in Barcelona. When they get back, we're going to arrange an epic girls' night. Life's so much better here. So much more peaceful. Tyler holds my hand as we take our nightly walks around our place. My favorite part is when we cross beneath the long waterfall by the front entrance. Beneath the waterfall, the world appears like this shining, shimmering silhouette waiting to reveal its magic. It's so beautiful.